So thanks everyone for joining. You're here today for another one of our Data Lab community events. My name's Paul McMillan. I am the Community and Events Program Lead here at the Data Lab. If you are unfamiliar with what we are doing, we have our online community which has 8,000 data and AI professionals, enthusiasts from over 100 countries. We are running events throughout the year, such as this one. And there's also lots more going on in there, including kind of support forums, a jobs board, mentoring program, and resources. We are here today to talk about hacking. We're here with Fróði Sveinsson and Josh Trueman from the Abertay Ethical Hacking Society, and we're here to have a kind of demo around phishing attacks, how they actually work, and how to make yourself a harder target. So with no further ado, I'll pass on to the guys.
Alrighty. Hello. Thank you very much for joining us all today. Just give me a second while I get my presentation up. Perfect. See that all right? Lovely. Cool. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. I want to start by pointing out that somewhere right now, someone is about to type their password into a website that is not real, and they won't know before it's too late. And maybe today that person is you. Getting hacked and hacking takes a lot less effort than you'd think. And it's almost never because someone was stupid. So again, thank you for joining us. As Paul said, I'm Josh. I am a third year ethical hacking student at Abertay, and I am the vice president for the Abertay Ethical Hacking Society.
Hello, my name is Fróði. I'm also a fourth year ethical hacker and I'm the president of the Ethical Hacking Society here at Abertay. You might see the Abertay logo out there as well. But over the next 45 minutes, we'll be showing you exactly how little it takes to get into your inbox, into your accounts, and even your browser. We'll even include a live demo, which you guys can take a part of. But that'll be in a few minutes. But before we get started, this talk is not a big lecture telling you guys how you guys are stupid or how easily you can get hacked and how awesome we are, because actually even hackers get hacked and this can happen to anyone. It's also not a marketing ploy to get you guys to buy some specific antivirus or course. And also, it's just not going to be a super technical presentation today. There is some technical stuff, but you don't need to know anything to understand it. And a wee side note, this presentation that we created was actually aimed at SMEs in particular, so it might be slightly geared towards them, but essentially this can be applied to anyone. So with that, I'm going to pass back over to Josh.
Thank you very much. So here's the thing that most people in the public sphere would get wrong about hacking, and you probably picture a person sat somewhere in a dark room coming after you specifically. But for most of us, that basically never happens, or but not to regular people anyway. What actually happens is a lot less personal and a lot less flattering, to be frank. So most of what we're going to show you today wouldn't be targeted at you. It's targeted at whoever's easiest that day out of the thousands or millions of people getting the exact same email that same time. You don't need to be interesting. You don't need to be rich or important or have anything worth stealing that you know about. You just need to be reachable and not paying attention for one moment. There are around 3.4 billion phishing emails sent every day, according to Microsoft. And that's not a targeted campaign. That is a numbers game. And as I'm sure you know, in a numbers game, the house always wins. And that's actually a more useful way to think about it, is the question should not be, am I important enough to be a target? It's, am I the easy target? So in a moment, we'll show you exactly what that looks like live on some of you guys. But first, let's knock down a few myths. Fróði.
So myth one, hackers only go for big companies or important people. Now, it makes sense that people think this. The attacks that we always see are usually on the news when they go after big banks, hospitals, or governments. But those are the only ones that really make the news. And they're actually rare and quite dramatic, and that's why we hear about them all the time. But the day-to-day stuff, like you and I getting hacked, doesn't really make the headlines. And most of that is automated, getting done by automated tools. And they don't care who you are. They don't check what your job title is, or even how much money you make. They just send, they just send it, fire away, and just to see whatever sticks. And if you're reachable, you're in scope, and pretty much everyone is reachable. I think Josh is taking the next slide.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Myth two, I'd know right away if I got hacked. It's a comforting one, perhaps, but it's almost never true. Um, in your head, it would be like alarms going off, your screen, something popping up, some obvious sign. Um, in reality, obviously, the whole point is that you don't notice. So, um, Equifax, one of the biggest ever breaches, had attackers sitting inside for almost 2.5 months before anyone realized. I think it was 76 days. So if a company with an actual security team can miss it for that long, I reckon I'd just notice isn't really a good plan in and of itself. Really.
So myth three, I don't have anything worth stealing. Now, everyone thinks this, and everyone is wrong. Because you're not thinking like a hacker does at the other end. You're picturing the money in your bank account. But actually they're looking at your email, your contacts lists, old invoices, and your saved logins. Even photos of your old passport that you've sent to yourself, which I've done myself. But all of this has value and is often just sold directly on. Um, or they're looking for something more interesting, such as your boss, your family, or even your company. You don't have to feel important to be useful to them. Myth four, I don't have anything worth stealing. Don't, I'm on the wrong slide. This is the big one. The whole talk is built on hacking takes serious skills. It's hacking is like someone who's a genius in a hoodie looking at green lines of code. But there is some truth to this, but it's not so much anymore. Most of it actually works today is just cheap, it's copied, and it's just increasingly done by more automated tools that do the hard work for you. And you'll actually see this in a couple minutes because that's one of the things we're going to show. Going to show you what we're going to show you barely took any skill to put together.
So here's what's going to happen just now. I'm going to show you a phishing email. It looks like a fairly normal email. So it's going to show up here. Um, and there will be a link at the bottom of the screen that will take you to our little demo page where it's just like a little login page that kind of mimics what it would look like if you were to click on one of these links from a phishing email. A couple of important things. Number one, please use fake details. Do not put your real password into this because it's going to show up on the screen. Make something up. Number two, this is opt-in. If you'd rather just watch, that's fine. You'll see exactly how it works either way. And number three, nothing you type goes anywhere except this screen. We're not logging anything. It's just there for a few minutes while the demo's on, and then it's gone. Um, okay, so here is the email roughly as it would land in your inbox. Take a second to look at it as you would if it popped up on your phone, um, or like just between two other emails. And you should be able to hopefully go to the link there. I will also put it in chat for a moment. Should have prepared this. So there you go. And I will also pull up on here. So this is the login page as it appears. And we've also got this fun little backend that as you guys start typing, we should hopefully begin to see some details coming in here. There we go. Very nice. So as you guys are typing away there, you can see it coming through. So while you're typing away, let me actually kind of explain what's going on here because it's a lot simpler than it looks. So this login page is, it looks exactly like the real Microsoft login, and that part is pretty easy. The background is just an image you can pull from the Microsoft website, and the rest is just a copy of their page. You can just hit Control S and save it, and it will look pretty similar with a little bit of tweaking in the CSS. And anyone can make something look right with some pretty basic CSS. The difference here is what it does when you type into the box. So on the real Microsoft page, it doesn't, the details don't leave your device until you've finished and it sends it off to Microsoft to check them. This page doesn't wait, so every single character you type gets sent straight through to us as you type it, and it lands here on the screen. And then you might have noticed that once you submit the form, it actually redirects you to the real Microsoft login. So from your side, it just looks as if the page reloaded, or maybe you mistyped your password, or if you're already logged into Microsoft, then it'll have just redirected you to your Microsoft account page. Okay. Now, it's worth being clear that what we built here is the very simple homemade version. I knocked this together to show you the idea. But this stuff exists as proper off-the-shelf products. There's a whole category of these called phishing kits or phishing as a service. You pay a subscription, same as you would for Netflix or Spotify, and you get ready-made fake login pages for the big names, Microsoft, Google, your bank, and then the hosting is all sorted for you. You don't need to know how any of it works. You just point at the list of email addresses and hit go. And some of the more advanced ones can actually sit in between you and the real Microsoft. You get your two-factor authentication prompt and everything, you prove it, and then it steals your session, so it can just walk straight into your account. And that is pretty basically a phishing attack in and of itself. No exploit, no super complex 0 days or anything. Um, it's just clicking on a button, typing into a box, and it hands us your login. Um, so I've got the email back up now, and I want you to have a proper look at it and see if you can spot any of the things that that make it kind of seem off. So I'll go over, yeah, Susan, email domain, yes. So the if you look here, you'll see that this email came from qbsupport@gmail.com. Um, the in reality, most or every company will be sending from their domain. So QuickBooks would maybe be sending from support@quickbooks.com, um, rather than just some random Gmail account. I see what else? Exclamation marks. Yes, and urgency. So a lot of phishing emails uh, will use this tactic of, act now, your account will be locked. There's pressure there to try and get you to move before you think. And real companies will almost never need you to act within the next 5 minutes. Um, and yes, I think you are correct. Um, I think QuickBooks may be spelled differently. So I may have got that wrong. And yes, false urgency before the link expires. Obviously, this link will never expire. It's just there to um, it's there to redirect you to the phishing page, so they're not going to make it expire. And I think that's all the main ones. I think you caught most of them. Obviously, there's the page, um, the page that you land on itself. Um, there are certain things that you can kind of have a look at to see if it looks fake or not. Usually fake ones are just like the login box. The other buttons don't work. The footer links don't go anywhere. Forgot passwords, does nothing. So on the real site, all of that just works. So moving on, I will hand back to Fróði.
So quick thing before we move on, because there's an obvious question here. We've got you log in. What actually happens next? What is it worth to someone? Realistically, it doesn't sit with the person who fished you for long. Stolen logins get bundled together and then sold on in bulk and often just quite cheaply, surprisingly. So the people who take your details and the people who eventually use them are often not the same person. And when it does get used, it's often fast. It's usually automated and nobody sat there carefully reading your emails. A tool tries your details against a load of other sites in seconds to see what else they can open and drain what they can, or they quietly sit inside an account trying to extract more accounts, more contacts, that sort of thing. And specifically, your email is the big prize because it's the reset button for everything else. If you think about it, your forgotten password to your bank, your shopping, your socials, that all gets sent to your email. So whoever's got that email doesn't just have access to your email, they have access to everything else. So phishing's the big one that everyone knows about, but there are a handful of other attacks that happen to regular folks like you and I. Um, None of these are tricking you to type anything in. These are kind of the next step up. So we'll take them one at a time and go through them. So first one is public Wi-Fi. Specifically, it's called the evil twin. So say that you're in an airport or a coffee shop, you connect to a free Wi-Fi, you see airport, free Wi-Fi, or Edinburgh Airport, free Wi-Fi. You tap on it, there you are, you're in. And that's the problem. The network name is just text, and anyone sat nearby can set up their own hotspot, call it the exact same thing, and your phone has no way of telling if it's the real one or the fake one. It just sees a familiar name and it connects to it, usually to whichever is the stronger signal, which the attacker can easily make their signal the strongest. There's a real example of this actually in July of 2024. The Australian police caught someone on a plane doing this, pretending to be a Wi-Fi hotspot on a plane. The way it was caught is employees on the plane started seeing the suspicious Wi-Fi hotspot and were able to report it. But actually, once you're connected through that new Wi-Fi box, instead of the real one, all your traffic gets routed through that, and is just then passed on. A lot of that network traffic is encrypted, which helps a lot, but not all of it is. And an attacker can quietly do little things, such as give you fake versions of websites that you're trying to reach. And the big thing is you did nothing wrong. You just connected to a Wi-Fi hotspot and that's it. But there is one easy way to get around it. It's just be suspicious of any open networks with no passwords. And don't do anything that matters, such as banking or your emails or anything work related on open free hotspots. Just use your mobile data instead and use a VPN if you have one. Here's the second one. This is actually something that we've seen in the wild. So this is not hypothetical. I actually can't take credit for this. Josh, who is a part-time security researcher, has seen this out there in the wild and found this. There's an app that shows you who's been viewing your Instagram profile. They're everywhere on the internet. People really want this feature. Small problem, it's not actually a real feature. Instagram doesn't actually even offer it themselves, so it's not possible. So any app claiming to do this is lying about something. So what does this app actually do? When you open it, it shows you the genuine Instagram login page, not a fake one. Not a fi- it's not a fake copy like the phishing demo that you saw earlier. It's the real app inside this app. So when you log in, it works because it's real. Everything looks completely normal, and you're in, you're waiting for it, and you get to see your creepy stalker list. But the moment you successfully log in, the app quietly grabs your session cookie. Now, a quick explainer on what that is. When you log into a site, it hands your device a little token that says, this person already is logged in, and don't make them log in again. Um, and that's why you're not typing your password in constantly. It's actually what the token's a session cookie. But here's the kicker. If someone steals that token, they don't need your password. They don't even need your 2FA code. They can just paste it in on their end and straight into your account, fully logged in. The app grabs it, sends it off to a server, and the attacker controls and essentially your account is theirs. And from your side, you don't see anything. That's because you actually logged into the real Instagram app. There's no dodgy login, so no spelling mistakes, no fake URL. The login was real. The only mistake was trusting the app that you downloaded. Um, so what about, oh, that's your slide.
Sorry. So everything that we've shown you up till this point needs a person to slip up somewhere. Click a link, install an app, join the wrong network. But that is starting to change because it's getting genuinely easy for attackers to just type out what they want and get most of an attack chain back in minutes. And to be clear, what we do and don't mean by that, yes, AI models are now getting good enough to find real security bugs. That is a genuine thing that's happening. And it is a big deal, but that's not the scary part for you and me sat at home. The models that are doing this aren't some new alien technology. Um, but the bit that actually matters for you and me is um, it's a bit closer to home, and it's really still just phishing, but wearing a new outfit. Um, so I wonder how many of you have used an AI assistant that can actually go and do things for you? Not just answer a question, but like go and read your email, um, browse a website, fill in a form or something. More and more of these are turning up. Book me a flight, sort my inbox. You can hand it your account and your browser, sometimes your like whole screen, and it just goes off. It does a task, which can be genuinely useful right up until it reads something it shouldn't have. And that's the problem. These tools can't always tell the difference between an instruction from you and an instruction hidden inside something else. Um, so if it's got text in it and the tool reads that text, then the text can talk to it too. So what I'm going to show you here is exactly that. It's a completely normal looking email inbox, nothing you think twice about. Um, this one is a pre-recorded demo done by the wonderful Donato Capitella over at ReverseSec. It's pre-recorded purely because uh, agent behavior is not something we can guarantee will cooperate on demand in front of an audience. Uh, so that is why it's pre-recorded. But everything that you're going to see is is real and it can be run, exactly as it's shown here. So hopefully this plays all right. Should be able to see here a pretty normal looking inbox. There's a few unread emails sitting there. Over on the right, that is our browser AI agent. This one's called Taxi AI. It's a browser extension. It's free on GitHub. Uh, the idea is you can ask it to do anything on the page you're looking at, and it can actually take control of it and do it for you. So if we start fairly simple here, just ask it to open and read our emails. You can see it starts interacting with the browser window and it actually starts reading our emails. Now it's about as basic as it gets, but we could ask it for anything, summarize summarize everything in my inbox, send a new email, go find a specific piece of information. So what if an attacker tries to hijack Taxi and gets it doing something it shouldn't? Well, here is an email that an attacker could send. Um, Looks fairly benign, but you can see at the bottom here there is a prompt embedded to try and get the agent to take your 2FA code. And we can hide this in many different ways. For example, here, just setting the text to white. Obviously, that might not work if you're on a dark theme, but there's various different ways you can hide text in emails, placing them inside hidden divs, etc. So the important bit, that email is now sat in our inbox, and if we get it to go and do the exact same thing as before, we should see that it starts off the same, open and read my emails, and it will start reading. But you can see that this time, after it reads the first email, it gets diverted and it's picked up on that hidden instruction in the email. And instead of just reading the email, it's now going to send an email to our attacker email with the 2FA code. So we never asked it to do this. We just asked it to read our inbox. And the reason that this is worth taking seriously isn't the specific email or the specific agent. Not all agents will be vulnerable to this. Not even the same agent will be vulnerable every time. That's the joy of LLMs. They're unpredictable. Anyway, it's the pattern that's the problem. More and more tools like this are being given the ability to read things and take actions. And at a baseline, the agent can't tell the difference between this is what the user wants and this is something that I read. Both just arrive as words. There's no little flag that says this one's legit. There are ways that so if you're using something that can read stuff and act on your behalf, be careful what you point at. It's just an AI assistant doesn't mean it's immune to being tricked. But being fair here, Taxi is a small free extension. It's not built by a massive company with a big safety team. And commercial agents do put a lot of effort into defending against this, but defending against it is very hard. It is something that is still, being talked about today. There isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for it. And similar to the evil twin attack earlier, the user didn't really do anything wrong here. They didn't need to click a dodgy link. They didn't install anything sketchy. They didn't type their password into a fake page. They just asked their assistant to check their email, which is a pretty boring task. So um, all the other attacks need you to slip up somewhere, and this one just needs you to be using a tool that you trusted and for someone to send you an email.
Okay, so what do we actually do with all this that we've just gone through? As we said right at the beginning, it's not almost never about who's being targeted, it's just who's easiest that day. So what can you do to make yourself much harder of a target compared to the next guy? One, we can use a password manager. Everyone says do this, so why does this specifically matter? Remember how a stolen login gets fired over hundreds of accounts over sites in seconds? This only works because people reuse their passwords constantly. A password manager kills that entire attack in one move because every login you got is different. So if one account gets leaked, it doesn't take the rest of them with it. And as a bonus, it doesn't autofill your password into fake accounts because it checks the web address first. It's better at spotting dodgy sites than we are. Um, Second thing you can do is turn on your two-step verification. Most businesses now, you have to do it, but you also have to pick the right kind of 2FA. When you get the choice, go for an app code or a physical key over a texted code. This is the honest bit, remember the session cookie getting stolen earlier in the phishing demo? The one in the Instagram app, sorry. 2FA doesn't save you from that because by the time they've got your session, you've already passed 2FA. So it's just brilliant against lazy attacks, for example, password spraying and that sort of thing. So it's not the magic shield, but it's just another tool on the list to protect ourselves with. As many said in the chat earlier, three, we should really slow down. We shouldn't react instantly on anything urgent. Nearly every attack has this baked in to try and get the pressure up. For example, act your account's at risk now. The urgency is really the attack. It's specifically there to get you moving and make your sensible part of the brain switch off. So when something feels like you've got a second, that you've got only a second to act on, it's going to be a red flag. And actually, real companies can wait 5 minutes. The bank can wait. They don't need to be answered in 2 seconds. And also just be suspicious of anything that you install or connect to. For example, the Instagram app, the free Wi-Fi, anything anything like that, you invite it in. So before you install anything, just make sure that is this what it is? Is this too good? And definitely, if you don't recognize the network, just don't join it. Now, this has been said from the start of the computer. Keep your stuff updated. I know this is a boring one, but most attacks aren't actually genius zero-day attacks. They're just using old unpatched methods to get into your computer. So updating actually just fights off old hacking attacks that have already been stopped. So just turn on your automatic updates and just forget about it. I was going to say, if it takes 5 minutes, just let it update. Now, the next one, back up anything you hate to lose. Everything that we've just covered is about keeping people out. This one actually saves you from when everything fails. So any photos, documents, and anything that actually matters, get it backed up somewhere separate, and every now and again, check that the backup plan actually works. It's surprising how many people don't do that. But if worse happens, this is the difference between a bad day and losing absolutely everything. And this is becoming more and more relevant, and a big reason why we wanted to cover it in this session, because the data lab is we've got to be careful with our AI tools. If you're using something that can read things, act like we just showed you, actually think about what it can see, what it can send, and what it's plugged into. Now, AI and agentic tools, they are useful. I use them every day for work, and no one is telling you to not use them. Just don't give it the keys to the kingdom. and assume that it can be talked into doing something stupid because we saw that in the demo earlier.
And the thread through all of it is none of these attacks are hard. None of them take any real skill. Um, Everything is kind of boring. Um, it's the reason a thing that you've heard before actually works, and every one of them ties back to something we put in front of you tonight. Um, because the whole point of this really is getting hacked takes a lot less effort than people think, and it's almost never because someone did something stupid. Most of it is not aimed at you, it's aimed at whoever the easiest target is that day, and every single one of these habits does the same thing. It makes you a wee bit less easy. So you don't need to be untouchable, you just have to not be the easy one. The tools will keep changing. The AI stuff, especially, is going to look completely different in a year, 2 year, 5 years time. But the principles underneath don't change. So slow down for a second before you trust something, and you're already ahead of pretty much everything that we showed you tonight. So thank you all very much for listening this afternoon. And thank you for playing along with the demo. Uh, it was fun to see all your fake passwords coming in. So we will take some questions now, I believe. But other than that, thank you very much. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you so much, guys. Great presentation and lots of food for thought there, certainly for me, and I'm sure for everyone else in attendance. Got a couple of questions here that we'll run through. So,
Perfect.
this one came off the back of the demo. It was saying often the password is not enough to hack, though. Is that right? If you have double authentication, should that stop it?
Yeah, so that was something we covered earlier. Obviously, yeah, two factor authentication is one of the biggest defenses that you can have against, simple like fake login pages and stuff. Um, they are designed to be that extra wall for you. So it's a pretty simple answer. Yes, use two-factor authentication.
Good stuff. Okay, next question. Does using a VPN actually protect when using public Wi-Fi? And what to do when the public Wi-Fi blocks your VPN?
That's a great question. So yeah, VPNs, I know there's a lot of like marketing and stuff around them, but the simple fact of what they do is um, encrypt your traffic before it gets to the network, so that even if someone is sitting on the other end, they can't see um, what is going on. So they do work. Um, Obviously, I'm not trying to sell a specific VPN. You go find whatever VPN works for you. Um, and there's a second half to that question. Sorry.
It was about the if the Wi-Fi blocks it, how do you get around it? Usually, if the Wi-Fi is blocking it, is probably to do with you're connecting to a server in a very uh, maybe a dodgy country, or you're hopping around different servers quite often. So, say that you're in a public Wi-Fi in Scotland, it'd be best to probably log into a VPN server in London. Um, one, because it's the fastest, but also it's expected traffic. But if you're joining a Belarusian VPN server, that might be a little bit suspicious for the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi might say, nope.
Good stuff. Okay, next question. Are there any common sandboxing tools for using AI agents to prevent access to unwanted files?
That is a good question. It's not something that I have a lot of insight into. Um, I wonder if really you've got any insight on that.
Not specifically sandboxes, I don't. I've not seen any yet. Actually, it's probably something I'm going to research into after this. But It's more about keeping the guardrails up and making sure that actually when say that your Claude agent is asking to make an edit, is double checking what it's actually editing, if it
Yeah.
looks right.
Yeah,
That's
so the one of the most basic ones I would say is Docker. So um a lot of AI agents you can run in a Docker container, and these boxes are designed to be isolated from your main machine by default, so they don't have access to your files, and you can very strictly control kind of what traffic goes through. So yeah, Docker is definitely one of the main ones.
Thanks, guys. Okay, final question that we have at the moment, but you can all feel free to still add anything in. How do these infiltration attempts bypass third-party security firewalls like Norton or McAfee if they are installed? Again, a double question, any preemptive measures to protect it from bypassing these firewalls?
So
oh
that's quite a loaded question.
yeah.
So if you're talking about like malware and stuff, how does it get past um, antivirus and things? It's different for every malware, and um, most malware will be detected by antivirus. And if it's not, there's not really anything you can do to stop that because it means that it's not something that the antivirus has seen before. And you can't really protect against something you don't know. Um, so that's where the being skeptical and slowing down comes in. Um, you know, make sure that you're reading the uh, software description very carefully. That, if it's something that seems too good to be true, it probably is. No free crypto or, as we touched on earlier, uh, the who viewed my profile, that feature does not exist. So yeah, unfortunately, if the antivirus can't detect it, that's that's just how it is. There's not really anything you can do to stop that.
Amazing. And I think that is all of our questions. So we can wrap up there. A big thanks again to Fróði and Josh for joining us today. I hope everyone that has joined us over the lunch break has found that valuable. A reminder again, we have lots more cybersecurity events coming up this month in the Data Lab community. So just remember to log in or join if you haven't already, and you can find out more there. And I can wrap up there and let everyone enjoy the rest of their day. Thanks again, everyone, both to the speakers and to everyone who attended. Cheers.
Thanks very much, guys.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye bye
you.
now.